Hello, the internet. It is Thursday, the 22nd of July, 2021, and welcome back to the channel. The 22nd day of the month of July, and consequently the 22nd stream for the month. We're doing Julive. This is a program where I go live every day for the month of July. Take the word July, take the word live, merge them together somewhat, and you get Julive. Daily live streams on YouTube. In addition to my daily live streams on the D-Live machine. Now, in the chat, I said hello, the internet, 1, 2, 3, 4 times because I've worked out what's going on with the Stream Deck chat command for YouTube. The stream has to be live before that can take place. I don't know if that's the way it's always been, but it certainly is the case now. In fact, let me put another chat message in. I mentioned D-Live. This is my D-Live channel. I'm just putting that in the chat right now. Hopefully that works. Yes. Okay, so there's a little catch. I guess, maybe I was wrong. I sort of said this thing doesn't work, but now it is working, and there's the proof of it. Hello, the internet. Hello, the internet. Hello, the internet. Hello, the internet. 4 times. Please follow me on D-Live. There we go. So we're all good to do regular chat comments in the chat. This is going to come in handy on the Jack Daniels streams. That'll be 8 streams away. Special bottle behind me. Can you tell what it is? Oh, look at this. Get that out of there. Special bottle of Jack behind me. Do you know what that is? By the way, in the chat, it's just you and me, David. Hello, David. Let's bring the chat up on screen. It's just you and me, and me 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, not 7, 6. David, hello. If you're still there, hello. Let's talk about surfing. This was a request, or no? Wasn't really a request, but we did have a conversation that was loosely based around surfing, and I sort of said, oh, well, maybe we'll do a stream on that tomorrow, and that's today, so let's do it. I've just come back from surfing, where I tell you this, it was freezing cold. Holy crikey. The water has changed so much. I haven't been for a week. Now, I know it's been a week because when I come back from my fitness walk, which I do on a Wednesday, I put my shoes in the bathroom on top of my surfboard, which lays across the tub. I don't use the bathtub, right? So I put my surfboard there. It's a great place to store it. And when I come back from a walk, usually my shoes are a little stinky and sometimes a little wet and dirty. Well, I put them on the surfboard in the tub or in the bathroom to dry out. And they lasted a week. I normally then move them into the closet when they're dry, but this time they stayed there for a whole week. So I hadn't used my toothpick, my surfboard, in a whole week. But I went out today, and by the way, there's nothing in that. It's just that the conditions have been garbage. But I went out today because I woke up and the conditions matched the report, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be on. Although 6 degrees Celsius, that was cold. Arguably, it's okay when the sun's out, and the sun was out today, no cloudses. But when you hit the water for the first time, dang, something's happened in the last week, and that temperature is freezing. Like it was cold enough to sit there like this. You know, normally you sit there when you're waiting for a wave and you have your hands on your thighs and they're in the water, no sweat. Well, it was cold enough to do this, to keep your hands out of the water. Of course, that doesn't help your toesies because they're in the water. So I lasted about half an hour. David's there. Hello, Gibbs. Hello, David. How are you, man? I'll give you a little cheeses. Yeah, I lasted about half an hour out there, and Slacktrack didn't do anything for me. The Slacktrack, I didn't see the green light. I mean, I saw it as I was walking into the water, and then I didn't see it once the paddle out. I looked back, no green light from the Slacktrack. The entire half an hour, I never saw the green light once. Came in, looked up, there's the green light. It was tracking me when I was close, but not far. Slacktrack, garbage, right? David, I'm doing great. Thanks, mate. And how are you today? Yes, I'm doing well too. I'm doing well. Another thing that happened on this surf, a whale. And a whale really, really close to shore. Like normally the whales are binoculars out in the distance and you see them puff this. This one was just out the breaker. Like the way the wave broke, 5 more meters was a whale. And can we swear on YouTube? It was a fucking massive whale. Like, I'm not talking just a baby one that somehow comes close to the shore. I'm talking the whale, like a huge, you could see the barnacles all over it, right? That's how close it was. A whale, a massive whale, right up close in the shallows. Something I've never seen here before. Add that to dolphins, turtles, now whales, and I don't want to see a shark, but that's a lot of marine life for this area. And I do have a little vision for you to show you of the whale. You know what? Let's have a look at it now. I haven't even looked at it myself. So this is, if you would recognize this area, you would, because this is the bench where I begin my IRL streams. That's the, that there is a little landmark someone put in that tell you where the beach entrance is. So when I'm surfing, which wasn't today, I didn't hit this break today. I went further to the north and hit Crookies, but this is literally the break that I would surf when I'm surfing my home break. And there's the whale right there. But this is a video, so let's take a look. It does have sound, but I'll turn it down because there's no point in hearing the sound. So this is why I didn't surf here, by the way. These conditions, not great. But just wait for it. Wait for it. And this is on the way back too. This is after I'd surfed. I saw this whale further north on the way up to Crookies, and it's still there, still close to the shore. There's talk of it on a lot of people around on the beach saying it's going to beach itself. There it goes. Look at that. Look at that. Freaking whale right there in the waves. Can you believe it? I mean, it wouldn't be more than 1.5 meters deep there. There it is. Big ugly whale. They are quite ugly, aren't they, whales? Now I do the 2 times on the iPhone, so you get a little bit better vision. Big whale, right? Massive thing. Just chilling there. It almost looks like a creature from the depths. Like the Loch Ness Monster or something. There was its little head, I think. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's its head, I guess. Now it's going back under. There's its head. So it's heading south. It looks like a rock, right? It looks like a big rock, but I know there's no rock right there. Yeah, there you go, folks. Having a whale of a time out there. So, if we're going to talk surfing, how about this? Ask me some questions. I mean, I like surfing. You know I like surfing. If you got any questions about surfing, maybe I can answer them. I don't know if I've got the answer, but I'll give it a shot. That's the idea of a live chat, right? Kylan Berlin. Hello, Kylan. How you doing? How's old mate that always drops in on you? He doesn't always drop in on me. He's punched me in the head, and he's thrown rocks at me, and he's dropped in on me once, and he's death stared me, but I wouldn't say that's always dropping in on you. He seems... I mean, he seems pretty mellow. Like, last time he just gave me a silly grin and a stare, which is kind of funny. I don't mind a funny grin. But yeah, I haven't seen him. Aside from that, I haven't seen him. I've seen him on the street in a vehicle. But yeah, other than that, there's nothing to report. Obviously, I have made a decision on what I will do. And it's up to him in a weird way. It's kind of in his ball. It's his court right now, right? He can, depending on how he behaves, that will depend on what I do next. It's really quite interesting if you think about it, right? He's that close to an AVO from myself, so that's a court-issued apprehended violence order, which does dictate that there is a certain distance he has to remain away from me legally. And if he breaches that law or that court-issued order, then there are repercussions in terms of a fine, potential jail time, which would make it interesting. If I went ahead with it, he technically wouldn't be able to surf Crookies if I was already there, because he'd be in breach of that AVO. Now, that's not something I want to do. Obviously, that's lousy, right? But then on the other hand, I don't want to be punched in the head and risk dying in the water, because that's what happens when you punch someone in the head, which is what he did to me. You very well run the risk of killing that person. And over what? Some stupid concept that somehow I'm blowing up Culburra Beach. with a YouTube channel with 20,000 subs and 8 watching the live stream, and I'm blowing up Culburra Beach, and the person who is representing this country for surfing, Owen Wright. Google it, Owen Wright, OwenWright, Owen Wright. He's surfing for Australia in the Olympic fucking Games. Where do you think he's from? Culburra Beach, hometown Culburra Beach. Doesn't live here these days. Born and bred here, surfed all these breaks his whole life. He's an Olympian. It's so stupid, right? If anybody's going to be blowing up this beach, it ain't going to be me. It ain't going to be me. It's going to be Owen Wright. If anybody, and nobody is, by the way. So, yeah, I don't want to die for surfing. Certainly not at the hands of an absolute... You know, my opinion of him's changed. He still shreds, but he's not a very nice person. But I don't want to die at his hands because he thinks somehow to come to a resolution on something, the answer is violence. No, that's not the answer at all. The answer is like a discussion, maybe a clarification on what his beef is, because I still don't know. He thinks he's in that video. It's not. I mean, he technically is in the video, but the dude who snaked me is not him. And he's kept going, I'm red vest, I'm red. I know you're red vest. That's not the person in the video. You're paddling off the other way in that video. So I don't understand. I still don't understand it, but Kylan, is Crookie usually heaps localized like that? I've only been surfing that spot for, I've been surfing for 3 years, and I've been surfing that spot probably for about a year and a bit. So I don't know. I don't know how localized. I mean, any surf break would have your locals. Ironically, one of them being me, I possibly live closer than he does to the break, so that technically makes me more of a local if you're playing this stupid local game crap. Yeah, there's that to think of too. My distance to the break is closer than his, so if you're going to play the local game, I'm more of a local. But then because he did say, fuck off, go and do your... Don't fucking come here and surf. Don't fucking video here. Go and do it at your own break. And like, we all know a beach break. I mean, this beach break where I am, not as good as the point. Obviously, a point break's way better. Even if you're not surfing the point, off to the point, there's still better conditions. There's still a bigger area of sand that banks up more than this does here. I mean, this does work every now and then, but... So he's telling me, go and do it, don't. And he said, I got 10 of me mates, and if we see you up here, we're going to fucking smash your camera gear. And I'm like, that's a threat, right? That's threatening behavior. He's already punched me in the head. I've already reported him to the cops for that. They've said, dude, go ahead and put an AVO against him. So the process has began. What he does next determines whether that process concludes to the ultimate conclusion of... You're going to get a court-ordered... You're going to get a summons to the court, and they're going to issue you an AVO. And is that what you want? Like, is that what he wants to stop me from surfing? Because the irony is it'll do the opposite. It'll stop him from surfing this break if I'm there first. Now, if he's out there first, technically, I can't paddle out because, yeah, then I'm putting him... In effect, if I paddle out, then I'm putting him inside my radius, which is not how an AVO works. It's like the idea is to protect you from his actions, not allow you to put yourself in harm's way. So again, I don't want to do that. Like, hell no. That seems so... Just like I didn't press charges when the punch, even though he denied it. He lied to the police, even though the police have seen the footage. So they would have been looking at him going, does this guy know that we've got the footage? Does he know that? Because he's just lied straight to our face. So that's why when they called me up, they said we've gone and spoke to him. He denied. He said there was an altercation, but there was no punch. And then they said, so we obviously dispute that, and we've seen the footage. So you can press charges right now. We can issue. You can press charges against him right now, and you can go ahead with an AVO. And I was like, you know what? I'm not a tool. Like I didn't do anything wrong to start with. I just want to surf. So he's a dick. He's acting like a tool. We've all done that. We've all acted like a dick in our lives once or twice, maybe 5 times, maybe 10 times. We've all done something stupid. He's being a prick to me. He's bullying and being a prick. Does that deserve a fine and an AVO? No, I don't think it does. It's like schoolyard crap. The only thing that kills it for me is the punch. The punch is like, dude, that's death. That's life and death. And I don't want to die. I mean, I'm happy to die of natural causes or getting a wipeout and hitting the reef or whatever it is, but not at the hands of a punch to the head for something so stupid. That's not fair. So if he acts that way again, then there is no hesitation, absolutely none. I'm going straight for the AVO, and probably in retro, I'll go ahead with the not the fine. What do they call it? Charge. I'll go ahead with the charge because they've the cops have got the recording. They've got the statement I gave on the day. They've obviously got his statement. So everything's in place. It's just up to him to continue acting like a dick and get what's coming. And I don't think he would want that. I mean, I'd like to think he's a smart dude, right? I mean, by the way, if you go surfing, this will happen afterwards. All this water will just start pouring out of your nose. He's a smart dude. He's obviously a smart guy. He can surf. You need some smarts about you to be able to surf. He's a skilled gardener, right? He's got skills. Does he want to fuck all that up on something that's not even him? Because he's red vest, but he's not in that video, or he's in the video, but that's not him. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Chadsky, g'day Chad, how you doing, man? Robert Muller, he should respect others and not beat them. I know, right? Like, what are we, 16 and we're going to have a fist fight? It seems so stupid. Oh, we're talking about the kook at your break. He's not a kook. He's far from a kook, Chad. He's an absolute shredder. David, you should press charges on him. I've already made a decision not to. I'd press charges on him for threatening to smash the camera gear. Dude, the charges would be the punch to the head. The threat of more violence and the threat of trashing my gear, that's a separate incident. The actual punch, which is on camera, that's enough to charge him. That's assault, right? He's assaulted me. Chad, personally, if threats weren't enough, the punch would have been the line for me. Dude's going to keep escalating if he thinks he can get away with it. Thing is, that's the thing. It's been his responses since then that have kind of someone said once before in the chat, wouldn't it be funny if you could laugh about this together later on? And maybe that might be where it goes. Like, maybe there'll be a point where he's like, all right, man, I was being a tool. I'm trying to, you know, assert my dominance. I'm trying to, maybe he'll come to his senses, and maybe that's what the stare off and the smirk was all about. Because, like, we've not said anything since then, right? But I've seen him three or four times, and there's always this little, it's like this kind of smirk of like, and he paddled right past me. I didn't even know he was there. He paddled right past me, and he's like, just this. It's a funny smirk. It's a funny little, it's like a cheeky, it's like, I know, you know, and that's all needs to be said, right? Or nothing needs to be said. But my plan is, like, if there ever does come a point where we do talk, my point's going to be very clear. I don't really have anything to say to him, right? I've got nothing. The only thing I've got to say is, if you punch me again, you're going to find yourself at the other end of an AVO. If you damage any of my gear, you're going to be at the other end of an AVO. And like, the reality of it is, that's going to stop you surfing here. Do you want that? And then I'm just going to say, I got nothing else to add to that, because I don't have anything else to add to that. I don't want to be punched again. I want to keep surfing. I think he wants to keep surfing. Unless he wants to clarify his point, of which I don't think he's got one, then there's nothing else to be said. Don't punch me. Don't damage my gear, or you'll be at the other end of an AVO, and that'll be fucked for you. Let's go surfing. And that's my plan, but it hasn't come to that. It's just been like a stare off. Roughly how old is this clown? Clintos, how you doing, Clintos? I would say he might be slightly younger than me, but only by a little. I'm 45. I reckon he might be 43. Yeah, I'd say he's just a little younger than me. Yeah, just a little younger than me. He's trying to stare you down. Oh, it's totally an intimidation thing, right? But it takes like I'm not intimidated by that, but I'm not getting punched again, right? I'm not getting punched, and if he punches me, holy shit, dude, there's no hesitation, right? I'm going straight for the AVO, no hesitation, and that's just ridiculous. Like, to start with, I don't even know what his point is, aside from blowing up Culburra Beach, which is a fucking joke in itself. I don't know why he's so aggressive. People said to me in the chat one time, they said, this is the kind of guy who goes home and beats his wife, dude. You've done nothing to him, yet he lashes out violently. He's obviously got issues. Maybe he does. Maybe he's got back end issues that nobody knows about. Maybe that's why he shreds. Maybe he's a ripper because he's got so much extra weight going on in his life that he's like, fuck, I'm gonna go surfing and really cut this stuff up. Like, I don't know. People use sport for every kind of thing, right? But that's where. Did you really want to ask those questions? Because I was here to talk about surfing, and instead we're talking about violence in the surf. Oh, I guess that goes hand in hand. I would love to see. This is wow. Watching that video yesterday we watched of that break in Santa Monica. Can't recall where that break was, but everybody dropping it on everybody. Oh man, could you imagine Red Vest in those conditions? That would be really strange to see, because nobody gave a shit about anybody on those waves. It's like, well, that dude's already on it. I'm going for it too, and now I'm on it, and it's like, yeah, but it's his wave, but I don't care. Imagine Red Vest there. He'd be like, he'd throwing punches everywhere. Yeah, the Malibu. Was it Malibu? Was it Chad? Yeah, I thought it was Santa Monica. Robert Muller, if he punches you again, go straight to the police. If he's annoyed with you blowing up Culburra Beach, he needs to look at Owen Wright. Yeah, exactly. Red Vest is more Huntington Beach type, brooding and competitive and no chill. I don't know if it's competitive because there's no competition. It's just surfing, but I get what you're saying. By the way, I know his name. Like, whenever we call him Red Vest, I'm doing that to prevent doxing. I don't want anything to happen to him from anybody else. Like, I don't want you guys to go and searching him up and whatever. So I know who he is. In fact, I think the cops made a mistake by telling me that, because do you remember that time when there was a dickhead that came onto the property here and was filming and was calling me out? Well, the cops wouldn't give me his name. I got his name was Paul. I never got his last name, and I even asked them. I said, "Oh, can I get a copy of his statement? And I also want to know his name." And they're like, "No, we can't give you his name." But in this instance, the cops gave me his name straight away. And they also said, because I had like a speculation of where he lived, because that's the first thing they said, what's his name and where does he live? I said, I don't actually know where he lives, but I'm pretty certain it's this place, because I've seen him and a bunch of the 10 dudes that'll smash on my camera gear, all those guys. I've seen those dudes at the jetty taking, like, they've got a boat that they take across to the break wall, or they surf the point in front of the break wall, or they go across to Comerong Island and surf. But it's such a long drive, so you just go to the boat ramp and put the boat in and go across. I've also seen dudes paddling across there, which is pretty gnarly considering the sharks we've seen on my live stream. But one time before all this happened, and by the way, we've spoken before a bunch, right? I've got vlogs of him where we're talking in the surf. He's asking me about the floaty, the GoPro, and how it works. And this is all. If you go and search, you'll see him. He's in my vlogs. So there's been, like, before the punching, there's been discourse where we chatted. And like one time I was doing my fitness walk, and I just walked down and I saw at the jetty, and or the boat launch, and I saw these dudes sort of standing around the boat, and I recognized them as Red Vest and the other rippers. And I just pulled my ear out and said, "Oh, do you guys catch them out there?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah." I was like, "Oh, cool." But I couldn't stop because I'm middle of my fitness thing, and you don't stop on that because then you got to start again, and the pace that you're getting is lowered and blah, blah, blah. But then the next time I saw him, I said, "Oh, when I saw you at the boat ramp, were you guys going across to the break wall, or were you going out to the point?" And he said, "Oh, I can't remember I can't remember the specific of the day, but we do go out there." I was like, "Rad, man." Yeah, and then I saw that same, what I thought was that same boat parked in a driveway. And so when the cop said to me, what's his name and where does he live? I said, I don't know his name, but I'm pretty certain he lives. And I gave them a Google map pin drop of where I thought it was. And the cops came back and said, his name is Mr. Blank. He doesn't live where you think it was. That wasn't his house, but we found him. It wouldn't be difficult to find him in this town. I think they would have gone to the surf shop and just said, because I gave them photos and they said, oh, okay, we'll take it to the surf shop and just ask. And I think they would have found straight away who he was. The cops can't do that because confidentiality. Yeah, that's why I think it's strange that these cops did. He literally said his name is blah, blah, and he doesn't live where you think you said it was. Unless they're lying about his name, but then I've spoke to other people in the ocean and I've mentioned his name and they go, oh, yeah, he's a gardener, right? So they've all said, oh, yeah, that's him, he's a gardener. Chadsky, maybe competitive isn't the right word, but that type of surfer where surfing is super serious and they get angry at the sight of surfers, they feel they're inferior. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, competitive in that nature. Gotcha. This is why I still to breaks with chill vibes. This is why you go to breaks with chill vibes. Yeah. I mean, look, I live here, so I'm gonna go surfing at any spot along this. Depending on the weather and where the waves are, I'm gonna walk up and down this beach to get the best spot. And like, there's no way in hell he's gonna stop me from doing that. And if I'm gonna vlog it, I'm gonna vlog it. There's not a chance in, not even a slight % chance that I'm gonna stop doing what I do because of what he's done. Not a chance. Not even a skerrick of a possibility. I'm not doing it. I'm doing me, and I'm always gonna do me. If he wants to do him, which it looks like he wants to, and that includes violence against another surfer, then he's gonna find the law at his hands. And that's the end of the story at that point, right? It's like I gotta protect myself. I don't want to die. I don't want to die because some fuckhead punched me in the ocean because he thinks I'm blowing up the beach and he's red vest. It doesn't make any sense. Like that's not warranted to end somebody's life. Now, anything else you want to ask me about surfing? Not that I know too much about surfing. I'll tell you this though. I've found as I've gotten, let's just say, better slightly at surfing, I've found the bigger waves easier to ride. So like on a small day when you're trying to paddle onto a wave and the wave is small, you work harder and harder and harder to actually do the thing to get you onto the wave. But when you're out, when the wave's already big enough and you've only got to do 2 strokes and the wave's already on, it's a much easier. Like the process of paddling and popping up is super easier on a bigger wave. I've noticed that because I faff around in little. That's why I don't go out. That's why I haven't been out for a week when it's been too little. Arguably today was just borderline. But when it's so little like that and you're faffing around paddling and you're struggling and pushing and trying to do it, that's when your technique, I mean, my technique's not great to start with, but when I'm really, really paddling my guts out, as opposed to just getting a bigger wave and taking 3 or 4 strokes and up you go, that's another thing I got to do. I got to get up quicker. I'm okay on my left hand, which a skateboarder would call front side, but a surfer would call backside. That's weird. That's another weird thing about surfing. Far out. How do you explain that? So from skateboarding, a frontside carve or a frontside kick turn is when the coping, the top of the ramp, is in front of you, frontside. So you've come up and you've gone up the tranny and you've gone that way where you can see the coping. A backside carve is when or a backside kick turn is when you've come up the tranny and the coping is behind you. So you've turned that way. If it makes, it's hard to explain. It's very hard. I don't even have a fingerboard anymore. I used to have a little fingerboard, but in surfing, surfing is weird because you take off on a wave and you'll go, like if I'm going left, I'm natural footed, left foot forward. If you take off on a wave and you go down the face of the wave, you're in effect doing a frontside carve at the bottom of the wave because you're heeling in. So you're going front side. So you're turning that way. Your face is at the beach. But then the next thing that happens is you got to go backside because the wave is behind you. So the coping, in this case, the lip of the wave is behind you. So straight away you've almost done a front side, backside, which makes no sense, right? Yeah, they'll call that your backhand. That's your backhand, which it is, but I still think of it the wrong way because I'm like, oh, I've just gone front side. Forget the lip and forget the coping, but the turn I've just done is on your heel, and typically that's a front side carve on a skateboard, but you've hit the lip and you've gone backside. Now the other way, if you take off and you go right on the wave, so you instantly, the wave is here and you can see the wave, whereas before you were going backhand and the wave's behind you. So I've gone right down the wave and my body is facing the wave. So the wave's here, potentially barreling here. Never happens for me, but it's here. So at that point, you're technically, from a skateboard point of view, you've gone onto the wave into a backside carve because you've gone on your toes, and then you're trimming on your front side. So I'm sort of like, I mean, this is all just technical. This is all just naming it, but I do find it intriguing that you almost doing both without even. Yeah, you can't do a frontside backside on a skateboard. On a vert ramp, try to do a frontside backside. It doesn't make any sense. But on a surfboard, it's both every time. I'm goofy footed, so it's opposite for me. Yeah, so you're left foot forward, and so therefore, your right foot forward, and so therefore when you go, yeah, that would make it even more confusing for me. I'm just trying to picture it. And I don't hear surfers say the term switch. Do surfers use switch stance? Like, if you're a shredder, can you surf switch? Because like surfing does take a lot from skateboarding. Like a lot of the moves and stuff are very similar. In fact, probably almost the same. But you never hear a surfer surfing switch. Is that a thing? Like I know surfers do. Often they'll do like they'll hit an air or something and they'll land backwards and then they'll flick it around. But a skateboarder would land backwards and just keep riding backwards, but then they'd actually be riding switch stance and then they'd continue to do. Yeah, it's weird, huh? It's like as soon as you land switch on a surfboard, they just flick it back around to regular stance. Interesting. I like surfing though. Did you guys that have just come in, did you want to see the whale footage? I don't think they call it switch in surfing though. I've seen the maneuvers. Yeah. Snowboarding calls it switch, surfing doesn't. Yeah, okay, interesting. Chad, did you see the whale? There was a whale out here today. I got the footage. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but this is just off the front of my place here. So this is my local break. There's a whale right there. Big ass whale in the break, right? A whale in the break. Yeah, check this out. This is you often see me surf this bank here. This is literally this is quite literally the front of my house. And you'll see often I check the surf from right next to this pole here. Check left or check right. Left is Crookies and right is Tilbury. And there's the whale. Wait for it to. I zoom in again on a bit closer on the GoPro, on the iPhone. Yeah, look at that big mama whale. Wait till it gets closer. Yeah, here we go. Whoa, yeah, and like there was dudes surfing the next break along, right where that guy is. Like that would be a bit freaky, right? This local gets priority on all waves. This one does, yeah. Yeah, I got so close to him on the walk that I could see the barnacles. Yeah, pretty cool, huh? See a whale like that. Well, folks, what I want to do, I want to wrap this up so I can edit my surfing from today. The Slack track did have a slack day. It had a day off. It didn't work. I don't think it worked. I couldn't see the green light at all. That's super cool. Yeah. And I want to go back and check if he's still there because that whale So that shot, or that vision, I shot that after the surf when I'd walked all the way back. But I'd seen that whale as I went down to the beach. I was like, oh, there's a whale. Cool. Then I got a bit of vision of it. Then I went surfing for half an hour. Then I walked back and he was still here. So he's probably still out there right now. I want to go and double check. But yeah, interesting story. I was hoping we were going to talk. I mean, this is the beautiful thing about a live chat. I guess you guys can determine what we talk about. But I guess we talked about surfing. We talked about an incident, but I like surfing. Hopefully I'll go surfing again tomorrow. And otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next stream tomorrow morning. Cheers, ears. Oh, crikey.